Night holds no fire. Wind slips past the cave mouth with earth cold and the whisper of dry grass. Darkness lies on darkness, and still your nose learns the damp, your ears pick the slow breathing of those beside you. This world before fire is a world of short distances, of hands reading cool stone, of a heartbeat keeping time. Sight quiets. The rest of you explores scent maps the air. Fingertips chart the wall. Hearing follows small corridors of wind. Everything slows, safe when pressed close, patient when it moves. Lie still, let your shoulders drop a little, soften your jaw, send a long breath out. Night will pass, as every night passed before people knew how to coax a small light. You wake inside a darkness that feels thick to the touch. Not for a scream, not for a crash, but for a cold strand of wind gliding over your bare shoulder. Stone at your back is smooth and damp. Moss breath laces with the dry scent of cured hide in someone's hair. The cave mouth is an eye half closed. Beyond it stretches a level, endless black. You see nothing and still you know the night is old, because the chill sinks deeper and the insect voice is thin. Let your neck soften, unset your jaw, breathe out, slow and long. This dark is not here to swallow you. It is the place where night simply stands. Your band numbers about 30. Bodies lie close, a warm ribbon along the stone, backs to the wall, faces tipped toward the opening to read the wind. No fire to push beasts back. Fire is not yet a human thing. Night belongs to low yellow eyes and quiet claws. You hear a child's rough snore, the brush of a cheek on an arm, someone easing aside to give an elder room. Each small sound grows fainter, then blends into a gentle ground hum. Under that hum runs water far away, a stream circling a rock shoulder. It will draw you all at first light, for now you're held in a pocket of quiet shaped like a cave mouth. Lay a hand on your belly and listen to hunger resting. By day your jaw will grind without cease tough roots, tart fruit, rich insects, and, when luck and scent allow, a ribbon of soft meat. By night the body rests, jaw rests, knees rest. Ear and nose keep watch. Ears search for the dry crack of twig. Nose tests each thread of air. You know the rule when wind runs outward from the cave. Your band smell drifts to the grass and hunters pause at the edge. When wind flows inward, their scent walks straight into your lungs. Then the outer sleeper hooks a hand on the nearest stone and squeezes once to wake the ring. A small slip of pebbles. Close. Someone at the rim lifts a head. 2 fingers flick. No one speaks. No one rises. In a night before words, hands are language. Bodies tuck in, knees gather, ankles draw close. Silence swells and settles. No claw rasp on stone, no warm breath pushing in. Perhaps soil fell from a root. Perhaps a small back darted past. Your shoulder loosens another notch. Your collar opens a little, your breath lengthens. The world softens again. Water running through rock. In the dark, daylight returns in quick, faint pains. Your hand burrows in leaf litter and finds a tender root. A broken trunk bears big tooth marks. Pale hairs catch on wet clay. You remember the first brittle sweetness of an insect after hours of walking. You think of the warm hide that shielded a child's belly from the evening gust. Small things keep a day intact. At night you keep only breath. Another rule holds. A watcher never stares into the black. They tip the face so the thinnest light can slide across the eye. There is no flame to pinch the pupil. Yet dark stays dark. Ear and nose become long staffs. Ear taps the night. Nose touches wind. The sleeper beside you counts their own breaths to still the heart whenever a flash of curved teeth or a camptail shadow rises in the mind. Stories are not told aloud here, they flicker and pass. Let them pass. Fear is a stream. It comes and it goes. Unstring the palm, loosen the tendons, give each exhale another inch. Night lasts longer without fire since the hunt is done. No napping in the dark, no wandering far from the cave. Yet night is not idle. It knits muscle after broken miles. It gives ear and nose extra hours to learn the forest's grammar. Lying still, you know rain waits to the left, because earth breathes stronger from that tight seam. Lying still, you know something moved down the slope because gravel slid with an even, light pull. Lessons like these write themselves without flame. Written by the body in its own script, repeat. Endure. Slow. The band learns another habit where no torch burns. Sleep in layers. Sleep by turns. 2 or 3 remain awake, guarding the quiet by counting a slow pulse at the wrist. At roughly 30 beats, a fingertip touches an ankle and the watch turns. No words, no marks, and yet all understand. Places trade, roles switch. Eyes change. Elders lie deeper inside where wind leaks less. Children sleep between adults, so skin scent and warmth keep their bodies calm. These patterns need no ink and no quarrel. Night and wind have taught them. A body rubs a trunk below. The sound is a small wave. It passes. The forest breathes on. The ground before the cave keeps its even black. From the ceiling, and where stone sweats cold, a drop now and then finds your brow. Cool first, then warm as breath returns to its rhythm. Let the shoulder fall, soften the nape, close your eyes fully or you do not need to look. There is nothing to see. What you need sits in your chest, a slow safe beat. Some nights your band sleeps in trees. The rules change. Feet learn to cut wind so birds do not startle. Arms learn to hold wood so sleep does not fall. High up, wind speaks clearer, so do animal scents. Such broken sleeps are shallow yet not worse. Bodies of this age do not demand soft beds. They ask for dry ground above ground, a brace for the spine, a slender faith that someone beside you will wake at the right instant. You hold that faith when the watcher's breathing keeps its pace yet shifts in colour as a strange smell goes by. No need to open your eyes. Turn the head a shade to open the ear, then settle back into safety. Night is most dangerous, yes, and still there is only one thing to do. Do the simple thing well. Keep still, keep breathing, keep listening. Let your weight rest into stone. Morning will come like a sheer cloth touch to the eyes and slowly drawn away. Grass will shape first, then the slope. Birds will speak after, wind will change flavour. When water's scent grows plain, the ranks tighten, the few belongings gather, and the band walks toward the place to drink. Night has done its work. It kept you still and kept the yellow eyes on the rim. Let the chin fall lightly to the chest. Seal the lids. Breathe out long. You do not need to hold every watch to dawn. Another is awake. A band lives not by a single gaze, but by a circle taking turns with the wind. You are part of that circle. You may sleep. The sting in your right knee eases. Skin that scraped stone stops needling. One inhale passes through the chest like through a pocket of dry leaves. People of these nights do not drift into long dreams. They hold slivers, as if a feather were set in the hand and lifted away. A pale line clings to bark. A bead of water lies on moss. Another hand rests on yours. Enough. No sound needed. No meaning pressed. A fireless night hosts no long counsels. Daylight prepared decisions. In the dark they are rehearsed in silence. If two streams appear, choose the quicker one with less silt. If large tracks cut the path, walk against the wind. Such notes are the spine of safety. They go into the night like stones into a basket. At first light you lift the basket and move on. No talk. No contest. In this age a shared nod is stronger than speech. A deeper cold passes. It does not linger. It reminds you the rock beneath belongs to old earth. You raise the hide a little higher and leave the nose free for new air. There is no smoke, no coal, only the honest scent of night, water, and leaf. It is not harsh. It lightens the head and slows muscles that laboured too long. Let the chest sink. Give one more long exhale. Your place is not perfect. A hairline crack above drips at times. To the right, a pocket whirls wind in a small circle before letting go. Everyone has slid left where the floor grips better. That choice is not luck. It is many nights. You receive it. You need not remake the world. In small bands, knowledge lives across many bodies. Elders remember wind trails. The strong remember star strands on clear nights. The young remember high hollows that hold an arm. You lie among these memories and sleep. If rain comes, the cave will moisten, water will sound nearer, and the ground will bear fresh marks at dawn. If not, earth will be light, feet less mired, and you will range farther. Neither is bad. They are two faces of one rhythm. Life before fire does not fear change. It moves with it. Night teaches how to wait well. You wait now still, unswallowed, quiet, not forgotten. A dense silence thins. Insects change key. Stone under your back warms a fraction. Not from flame, but from a body sliding closer. You open your eyes to the same blind cloth, then shut them again. Right choice. Night keeps a few layers yet, each asking one smooth breath. You give it and receive a sleep as light as mist. You have crossed the night's midpoint. The rest will pass like water over steps. No pounding, no rush. There is no need to count. Your body knows. Your lungs know. Morning scent waits a few hundred paces from the mouth. There may be a shallow pool, black soil soft enough to hold last night's prints. The band will gather, drink in small mouthfuls so no head reels. Day's plans will come out of the quiet basket and lay themselves on the earth like smooth stones. Sleep again. Another's eyes are open. Another ear sits on the wind. You have done your share. You lie in the safe ring of dark. Night asks no blood and no shouts. It asks for an even breath, heavier lids, a palm on your belly to remember that you are here and alive in a fireless night. Inhale through the nose, hold a brief beat, breathe out slow, again in, again out. Cool stone cradles your back. Nothing else is required. Night will retreat by itself. You turn a finger's width so you do not wake the one beside you. The rock is less cold. Damp pulls back in your nostrils as if the cave exhaled. Night remains, yet it is thinning. No clock is needed. The body knows nameless signs and insect choir dropping out. A widened pause between two roof drips. The barest shift in wind scent. Close your lids more deeply and let breath settle to the floor. Outside, the forest may be moving. A pair of eyes may skim a ridge. You do not rise. Motion means little now. Without fire, movement is a flash. Anything louder than breath invites attention. Your band learned this across many nights. A watcher leans, not leaps. Ears spread like wings. Nose weighs thread-like changes. No call is needed. A fingertip on an ankle is enough. Signals run like water through stone, hidden and sure. Your palm finds your belly. The beat is even. Lower the shoulders again. Loosen the neck. Breathe out long. Your body is doing night correctly, Wester. When you lie still, the band becomes one warm creature, larger than any single person. It makes no noise, throws no panic scent, refuses to split. Night reads you as ground, like rock and moss. On hard nights this is the safest shape. Daylight slips in again. A fallen trunk, the crack of wood, mud streaks on a heel, crossing tracks on the low flats, the sharper water smell at the left fork. These images move slowly, Sester. They do not lift you out of night. They are smooth pebbles. Pick one up, set it down. Nothing needs solving now. The band made its choices in the last light, at dawn, when the slope returns and eyes open. Those pebbles will lie ready for the path. The watcher's breathing changes. Not faster, only different. They have heard a sign. Perhaps a small creature at the water's lip. Perhaps the wind's turn. Only the wakeful notice. You do not open your eyes. You need not help. Each person has a part in the braid of sleeping and watching. Yours is to keep muscle soft, lungs steady, mind quiet. When a touch finds your ankle, you will rise. Until then, trust the circle that has guarded lives for so long. Night wastes nothing. It gathers heat like leaves at a tree's foot, with steady breath. Warmth from chest and belly flows to the limbs. Your back steals a little from stone. A few hairs cling to your brow with damp, then dry. These details are the real night. Notice and let them go. One more slow exhale. Place a stone in the stream. A larger drop falls. No one flinches. A bead has finally found a path. It hits, splits, ends. Long after, another. That pace says the rock sweats less. The air thins. The body tags it as a dawn sign. Do not rush. Dawn here is no leap. It is grey cloth growing pale. You remember evenings when the cave was not found in time. Sleep came under a shelter light as a shadow branches arched. Leaves curtained the edge, hide lashed down to break the wind. Everything low. Outside, leaf noise breathed like a quiet mouth. Inside, bodies pressed closer. You held a rough bag under your chin where it was soft. Wherever you sleep, rules hold. Keep silence. Keep each other. Keep the nose open. Close the eyes and night moves like a gentle animal stepping round the sleeping place. Night's mistakes come from hurry. Stepping out for a small sound. Bunching the group where wind cuts. Skipping a watch turn. No speech is needed to warn. A bare patch of ground once told the story where another band passed. There was no blood. Only absence. You smelled that absence in the dirt. A hole in the air. From it you learn never to chase in the dark. Night is not for pursuit. Night is for keeping. A narrow balance lives between fear and knowing. Fear hammers the heart and jerks the breath, thickening the body's scent. Knowing slows the beat and smooths the lungs. That difference is learned by seasons. No one explains it, and everyone feels it. You remember your first sleep on the inner rim where cold eased because your ear was not in the wind. A year later you took the outer edge. It did not bite as deep as you feared. Behind your spine stood a line of spines. Warmth crossed skins and slowed the wind. Distant sounds trade places. The valley's insects no longer sing from right to left as at nightfall. They gather behind, as if the forest had taken a few steps. It did not move. The wind has turned. Water smells clearer. Wet earth grows lighter. Morning is opening its eyes. Keep yours shut a little longer. Save a few breaths for muscle and bone. Relax hands and chest. Drop the shoulders. Loosen the jaw. Exhale. In the last minutes of night, day rises again in scraps. An elder's palm stroking a flake smooth. Spear scratches whitening a plank. A mother's arm sealing a thin child to her belly when the wind chilled. Such pictures lie like cool embers. They do not burn. They warm. You lie among them and feel a calm without a name. Not from strength, but from being set in the right place between person and person. Between stone and wind. Between your breath and the bands. A quiet grey arrives. Not light. Only the rim of the cave no longer matches the dark. The edge shows faintly. Small body tucks its knees, lifts the hide, lets it fall. Tiny motions are morning's first signs. You open your eyes once, slowly, then close them. Sight can wait. Let smell lead a few more breaths. A fingertip touches your ankle. Gentle. Sure. You open your eyes. No one speaks. Everyone knows their part. Those who kept the night pull hides to their chests and close their eyes. The ring reverses. Your palms press the floor and you rise as if moving through water. Do not turn your head hard. Do not kick the heel against stone. Your body knows how to move in grey. Just beyond the mouth, a strip of ground waits for the first steps. Rise and place the heel soft. Ear still working. Nose still working. You are a string drawn just taut enough. Look to the low sky where forest touches the pale. No hiss. No foreign scent. Night's trace is a few shallow dents. You step inside to tap the shoulder of the one who will join the forward pair. They wake, sit, snug the wrist thong. You lift a hide over an elder's shoulder. Their lungs keep the slow count. A child sleeps with a cheek on an adult's arm. Small acts keep the next hour warm and quiet. Face the mouth again. Water tugs lightly at the bridge of your nose. That is where morning will open wider, and where each drink will be a small mouthful so no head spins. For now, a thin layer of dark remains. Stand at the rim, shoulder to stone, eyes learning the lines that have returned. Lower the shoulders, draw in through the nose, hold a short beat. Breathe out slow. The forest seems to breathe with you. These last minutes have their own silence. Not empty, but like feet on wet sand, close and light. You hear it and know night is finished. It kept you still. It masked your scent. It taught ear and nose one more lesson. It gathered warmth back into tired muscle. You rouse the one who will go first with the smallest touch. No one starts. They open their eyes, understand, sit, tighten the wrist strap, all within a single breath. You sit by an elder at the wall and set a palm to the floor. The stone is warmer than in the deep hours. Their lungs are steady. You pull the hide higher on their shoulder. Small work holds the hour to come. Lift a hide, trade a watch, set a heel on firm ground, look to the slope rather than the dark. These are the threads that stitch a safe coat round a band without fire. Rise again. Outside, a first bird gives one short note. Not high, not hurried, a single mark of sound. You thank it without words. The mark allows a large emotion and keeps the quiet. You nod to the one who will join the lead. They nod back. Enough. You step aside. The ring turns a new way. Day opens and night lingers as a cool veil on the cave. A veil you carry out to keep the head from heating, the eyes from rushing, the breath from stumbling. And before you go, give your body one last letting go. Lean to the stone. Let shoulder blades find the smooth plane. Tilt the head. Soften the face. Inhale. Exhale. Again. Night leaves as taking its stored tightness. You stand with its quiet like a small satchel. Not to show the forest, but to tell it you arrive softly. No display, no hurry. Step through each layer of ground, place each heel where it belongs. Listen. Behind you, sleepers drift in the cool hush. Keep that hush intact. Few trade watch for rest, they're breathing even. The forward line leaves the cave like a shadow lifting from earth, leaving no sharp edge, no call, no heavy foot. The path begins as a quiet chain of prints in damp soil. Keep breathing through the nose, hold a small beat, breathe out slow. Let the shoulder blades slide down, let the neck stay soft. Morning asks for nothing grand. It asks you to move where the forest will not notice. In a few hundred steps the water waits. Its story will open in its own way, clean chill on the tongue. Small ticks of stone, rules for sipping so heads stay clear. That belongs to the next piece. You stand between cave dark and dawn grey, and night offers farewell. It has done its part, teaching the ear to listen deeper, the nose to sort thin layers of scent, the body to lie still like stone yet live like water. A fireless day begins this quietly. No large words, no lifted hands. Step out with steady breath. Let the wind pass through without catching. Keep the band's scent thin. One more breath. In, then out. Light and long. Eyes open enough to read the slope. Heart steady. Night's memory stays warm like a thin blanket. The bank calls softly ahead. The path is unhurried. Life goes on by measured steps. The bridge into the next chapter lies in morning's clear taste. Water waits in the dark seam and the wet rock. Walk on. No rush. The day opens wide enough for a safe journey. Dawn's first blur washes the slope. Wind carries a clean thread of scent rising from low to high. Somewhere ahead, water moves. You cannot see it yet, but you hear the tiniest taps against stone. Lower your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Let breath travel through your nose. Hold a brief beat, then slide out slowly. The band closes its line, each body breaking the wind for the next. Night has stepped back, and a fireless day begins on a path that leans toward water. A whisper still walks with the first steps. Thirst always arrives first. Water is not only for the throat. It sharpens the eyes, steadies the grip, lengthens the stride. It is also where things wait. Every bank belongs to someone who arrived before people did, so the approach never runs straight. It bends along hummocks, threads behind low brush, pauses on outcrops to look down before a heel touches the wet rim. When you think of water, the heart slows, the gaze drops, the nose opens to mud, to moss, to the faint wet fur left from last night. Those smells carry more truth than thirst's call. 30 or so move in a formation they know by heart. The pathfinder goes first, not for speed, but for the way they read Earth's hints near water. They watch grass pressed by wind and fine slide marks in damp soil. The second keeps heading by the low sun at the right or left brow. The third glances back as they walk to make sure footprints do not stack into a loud dark line. The rest wrap into a long single body, strong ones at the edges, elders and children within. No voices. Each step lands like a leaf set on a stream without wrinkling the surface. The ground ahead is kind but not smooth. Sometimes a lip of rock rises. Sometimes a root crosses the path. Feet learn to touch with the forefoot before the heel. Measuring wobble. A free hand brushes a trunk now and then to remind the body of balance. When the water grows louder, the band halts on a dry knoll. From here you can see a low bank where a narrow branch of stream cuts the earth and disappears under brush. Shadows darken the surface. No hard rolling foam. This branch runs slow. The pathfinder tilts their head and scents. No stale pool, but there is an animal trace from near dawn. Do not hurry. Walk the higher edge a little farther and find a place where water speaks more clearly. Leaving the knoll, the line slides down the shallow grade like a strip of shadow. Eyes stay low. At the grass edge, small tracks cross. They're not deep. The hooves are not sharp. Something light came to drink and went back early. Best not to touch the water yet. Best to move parallel and search for a rock table where the stream thins over stone and hunters cannot hide. They go that way, light and steady, keeping a gap that avoids stepping in one another's signs and still lets a hand find a shoulder. Beside a silvered slab the sound sharpens. The narrow flow squeezes a gap and sprinkles even notes. Mud scent falls away and only the cold smell of moving water remains. This is a safe stop. They settle on ground a little higher than half a body above the rim. The lead kneels and lays the back of hand on stone to judge heat. The water is not knife cold and not suspiciously warm. Ice sweep both banks before anyone drinks. No fallen thicket forming a den. No heavy trampling of something large. Good enough for careful mouthfuls. Drinking here is a deliberate rite. No one bends so low they lose the view. No one swallows too much in one turn. Each person wets their lips, lets the tongue taste, listens to the belly, then allows more to fall into the throat. No head is thrown back and no neck is strained, so lightheadedness does not spin the skull. What comes from the current enters the body slowly. This rule has kept many from fainting when the sun climbs. There is no fire to boil a test. Experience lives instead as a ledger of scent and colour written into the body. The water should smell clean, not marshy, not rank. Its skin should ripple steady, not stand. The bank should be firm, not sinking. Pools that sit still tend to gather signs and sickness through a whole night. If the root forces a crossing there, they step fast on roots, not wading, not stomping, and leave little scent. All of this is a fine diagram in the mind, drawn year after year. Even at the right spot, a bank has eyes. Hunters often wait on the upwind side, so every sip begins with a pause to read the place, a long breath to sift the air, a slow scan left and right. Children get first drops. Elders get a comfortable reach. Anyone pregnant or fresh from birth stands close to steady them if the world tilts. Many acts at once, all wordless. Silence here is not solemn, it is how you hear. When mouths are wet and throats are soothed, bodies must be reset. Do not sit long at the edge. Do not bow the head over the mirror again and again. Rise, step back once, draw a deep breath to open the chest, and breathe out to close the right. Water has entered. Now the road returns. A trick for leaving a light wake depart by a path different from the one that led you in. Wynne remembers trails of scent for a while. A new line thins the trace quickly. Past the stream the band opens into a soft file. The sun has lifted above the trees a finger's width. The dim has become slim threads of light on leaves. Faces start to show. No need to look long into each other's eyes. A small nod is enough. After a short stretch, they halt by a taller bank of grass to share breath and judge the next run. With calves warm and minds clearer, memory of this river's old branches returns. Last year, when no rains lasted, the right-hand way made a deep bog. The year before, a safe stone lip lay to the left. The fragments join and become a choice. Not every day ends at a cave. When the road asks for more distance, shelter rises out of branches, leaves and hide. A camp only needs to turn rain, break wind, and not trap scent. That's why it sits under airy canopy, at a good remove from water, so night does not invite hunters in by smell. The ground is raked into a small level bed that will not puddle. Hide makes a roof. Dry leaves are the mattress. The body is the heat. Before dusk hardens, all lies quiet and ready for broken sleep and the same shared watch as in stone. Morning's first hazards live close to water and its paths. There may be a sudden sink that swallows a heel. There may be a rotten log that looks like a bridge. There may be a tight hedge hiding a low den for ambush. You do not meet these with spring. You meet them with cadence and set each step as gently as a hand on a friend's shoulder. Flick one glance over both shoulders to be sure wind is not packing the band's scent in one place. Listen once to hear whether the insect choirs changed colour. These thin signs are the real guideposts. Thirst moves to the back. The throat is warm, the heart regular. The body regains a clear layer. From here the route will track a high slope for a while. Shade paints cool bands. The water smell no longer pulls as hard, though it lingers to the left. The guide keeps that thread in mind, not hugging it so close you trample the bank, not straying so far you lose direction. That way of thinking lets the band move faster and stay hidden. An open patch widens to the right. Wind shifts there. Leaf flags quiver the wrong way. The lead lifts a hand to chest height and turns the palm down. The line stops as a wave goes calm. No voices. Only eyes comb the grass on both sides. A breath later, the grass rests and the wind returns to true. The small sign prevents a noisy step. Things like this have spared the group from needless encounters. Survival is often that simple. Know how to stop, know how to wait, know how to hear. The sun threads more light through the canopy. A palm laid on hide feels warmer. The back dries. The head grows light. When bodies report they are ready for a longer push. The line draws out, holds even spacing, and aims for a distant patch fit for a short rest. By then the water will become a thin line on the left. The story shifts from drinking to going, from scent of water to print of trail, from wet edge to dry spine. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out slow. Brow cool. Shoulders loose. Steps even. The road ahead is not in a hurry. The small rules that kept the stream bank safe will keep the slope and shade safe too. When the sun slides and thirst returns, there will be another reach of water as clear and cool, waiting for a few more sips. The day unfolds at a slow tempo, without a single needless sound, such as a wanderer's day before fire. Walk, listen, scent, drink, then walk on. Far off, a glossy ridge catches the new light. That will be the next stop. When you reach it, the formation will swap. The edgewalkers move inward. The sheltered step to the side. Whoever is tired gets a shoulder. Whoever is fresh holds the bearing. Change needs no speech. It is water changing channels at a boulder, quiet and exact. Breath in, breath out. Keep the rhythm. Water scent softens and leaf warmth takes its place. Each small sensation becomes a map. Each quiet step becomes a promise that the next place will be safer than the one before dusk. This morning the forest feels as if it is listening. Water threads along the left, its bead tap steady. The path narrows between two thicket. Do not rush. Every choice near water must be thin as hair and slow as mist. Safety does not live in springing, but in how you read the smallest marks the forest leaves for those who look. You lower your shoulders to open the chest and breathe out long. Wind drifts from the bank toward the dry rise. That wind favours you. As you near it, do not glue your gaze to the surface. Sweep both banks. Under roots, pockets of dark open into tiny hollows. Those hollows are where others wait. Stop before the grass flattens under your toes. Open your fingers at hip height to send the hush outward. No one stamps the ground. The forest keeps its secrets. Your eyes slide across the colours layer by layer, wet brown, deep green, stone grey. None of the layers move. Take one breath length forward. Once the approach point is set, tip your head only enough to see the lace of small bubbles where water meets polished rock. The bubbles are even, without strange smell. Touch the back of your hand to the wet stone as it reads clean and cold. Keep the spine tall so blood does not rush the skull. This water can be taken. Do not hurry a single drop. Lips first, tongue second, throat third. Between mouthfuls, lift slightly to listen. Each pause is a bridge between your body and the scene. Drink that way and you remain part of the forest, not a noisy streak across its stillness. Leaving the bank, let the water smell stay behind you. Do not follow your own path back. Any single track with one exit becomes a thick ribbon of scent in wind. Choose a higher line. Test trunks with a light touch for slick bark. Avoid roots that cross with yellowed leaves, since hollows often lurk under them. The forest is a kind maze if you know how to listen. Every low bush, every stone lip, every pressed lane in grass is a note that needs no letters. You learn to let the foot-goer beat ahead of the eye. The forefoot touches like a fingertip to a pond, testing softness before the heel settles. The body makes no extra shock. The knee has a blink of time to change course if the earth sinks. When you cross mud, place each step on exposed roots, not in the spaces between. If a fallen log looks like a bridge, do not trust the centre. Probe first with a dry stick and listen. A rotten span speaks hollow. A sound span replies dense. These are lessons the forest gives to the ear. You learn to read wind the way you learn to read script. Thin wind carries scent far. Thick wind pins it low. When wet fur smell rides high at knee height, you know something big left the water recently. Shift onto higher ground, leaving the band's scent where the wind will not hold it. If mud scent pools for hundreds of steps, a standing pool lies ahead where everything gathers. Slip toward open rock. Do not test your luck where the forest keeps a ledger. You build shelter as if setting a shell on earth. Choose dry branches that do not bleed strong resin. Lay leaves so the seam faces the wind, so rain does not drive back inside. Hide is a roof, not a blanket. Blankets are bodies and breath. Cut a low door turned away from water and a small high slit so air can pass. No doorway should be wide enough for a watcher's eyes to see straight into sleep. There is no fire to hold your circle. People are the axis. Shoulders are the posts. Trust among pressed bodies is the rope. Mark the path with things that do not draw attention. Two stones tight together at a dry ridge worn of a hole. 3 leaves face down by a root say the safe track is on the left. A thin branch lays on a slant between 2 bushes so the next feet do not slide into the dip. Every sign must be faint as a shadow, enough for kin to read and not enough for others to follow. A secret path needs no grand symbols. It needs the steady repetition of habit. Other people's mistakes ghost through the forest's memory. One band slept too near a pool, believing water's voice was friendly. At night their smell gathered and called many things to one point. Another crossed the low bank in the blue hour after sunset when every eye in the forest is widest. Another drank to fullness at a still pool after a hot day, and heads spun, knees failed, and the formation broke. Another smeared raw food scent along the trail and wind summoned noses they never saw. The forest punishes no one. It records. You read what it recorded and choose not to repeat it. You train your eyes to build maps from small things. Grass bowed in a line that runs with the wind and not by people. A deeper dent on the right within tracks that are not small. A fine spray of mud across leaves at shin height, proof that something ran fast through a wet patch. Eyes read, nose confirms, ear seals the answer. 3 senses knot into one net that keeps the body from falling into an invisible dark. When shadows shorten, the sun is high enough to swap places. Those who guarded the edge step in to recover. Those who rested in the centre take the rim to break wind. No one stands in hard light longer than they must. Each stretch of ground invites a new position. You do not need to be fierce. You need to be steady. Survival is a chain of quiet roll changes so no one carries a load too long. Toward midday, water returns as a gentle calm. Its cool scent threads with warm leaf and no longer cools sharply. You have had early sips and the throat is easy. Now the world grows quieter, as if a tunnel opens in the air to carry distant noises. From that tunnel you catch a lone bird, or 2 stones knocking on the far bank. Nothing threatens, only the presence of living things. You belong among them, alert and mild. Late in the day, when shadows lengthen, the dry spine becomes the night's address. The bed is raked smooth. Dry grass spreads thin. Hide drapes like a heavy cloud. You test wind again. If the band's smell pulls low, raise the roof a hand's span to draw it out. If wind pushes your scent toward water, turn the door toward the slope. Adjustments are small as you would settle a shawl on a shoulder. Keep anything strong smelling away from the entrance. Raw food is bound tight, lifted high, and set apart. Night needs faint scent so breath stays easy. Before you rest, step to the edge of the trees and find a staff the right length. This is the night's stick. It tests holes and steadies steps, and taps soft on the earth. It is not a weapon for attack. It is an extension of hearing. Tap damp ground and it tells you if hollows lie below. Tap stone and it answers with fullness or emptiness. Night will ask questions. The stick will answer for you. Return along the grass that now bends into a pale lane. The shelter stands quiet at the close of day. The band draws into a ring and trades the watch. No call is needed. A touch at an ankle suffices. You pull the hide up one finger's width, then breathe deep and file the camp's scent in your nose. If wind shift at night, that scent is your compass. Lie down and rest the shoulder blades on warm ground. Let the eyes close before the dark closes. What needed doing is done. You have passed a day of water safely. You drank in the right place, left by the right line, set the shelter at the right angle, traded roles at the right time. The road keeps following the high ground, but the rhythm now belongs to the body. There is no grand secret. There is a quiet curiosity, the way you lean an ear to hear water tapping stone, and a respect for mystery. The way you let the forest keep what it chooses to hide. Breathe in through the nose, hold a brief beat, breathe out slow. Night will come again, not as strange as the last. If fear comes, it will wait outside the shelter's edge. The staff rests at your hand. Wind moves through hide like a palm opening. Inside, the sleeper's breath draws you into the same calm field. Tomorrow the path lifts higher, away from water, into dry edges. Tonight you only lie still and listen to the forest breathe, and let sleep perch like a quiet bird on a branch. Noon rises slowly. Light sieves through leaves and breaks into gold beads on damp earth. The path leaves water entirely and runs the dry ridge where white threads of stone show through the skin. You hold cadence so the heart does not leap. When calves begin to pull, the line sinks a little, bringing weight closer to ground. Endurance is saved by short pauses, just long enough for one deep in breath and one long out. Heat gathers under leather. Wind shifts and the water scent falls away. Warm leaf and fresh resin take over. On the slope, a flattened swath marks a game track. Do not cut across it. Move parallel in a loose file so one footprint does not sit on another. The soil under heel is drier, the sound lower and sure. The ear notes it and lets it go like a pebble rolling from a palm, where a bald hill opens like a bright tray. The formation slips to the shade at once. Do not linger in the open. A downed trunk makes a low bench. Do not sink and stay. Touch the knees down once, lift the heels to send blood through the calves, then stand. A pause just short enough that muscles do not cool. Get warm this way. The road grows longer while the body stays smooth. A small drink belongs here. No one returns to the stream. Water is shared from leaf pouches filled at dawn. The tongue meets a drop. The throat accepts a mouthful, then stops. High sun often tricks the body into drinking too much. The group's quiet rule saves water for the evening. Taste the cool at the tip of the tongue, then seal it with a slow exhale so thirst does not wake like a cat in the chest. Near midday the wind brings a thin, strange scent. Not water, not mud. Wet fur that half dried. The lead lifts a flattened palm and the line settles like a still sea. The air grows clear at once. Even the insects seem to pause. A leaf quivers against the wind. That is enough to change course. The band drifts down a secondary slope where footfalls drown in deep litter. When the forest holds its breath, the right answer is always to leave the straight path. The burning hour gives another lesson. You do not keep one speed from dawn to dusk. When the shadow is shortest, shorten the step a half beat. Long roads need long hearts. Anyone strong moves to the rim to shade the centre. Anyone tired steps in to square the breath. Each swap needs only a tap at an elbow. The discreet relay turns the group into one shared body that does not depend on any single pair of legs. Halfway up the rise, where roots clutch like fingers, a black hollow opens. The staff taps and gives a hollow answer. Leave it. Go around. Do not cheat the distance for a shorter line. Shortcuts cost more. Slow cadence often costs less. These small sayings tie knots in the memory, so decisions do not slip when sweat stings the eyes. Afternoon begins with a cool ribbon of wind. The leaves above change from whisper to long sigh. A bare patch tucked behind a rock lip, flat enough, becomes the rest. In the quiet shade, bodies lower one by one. No one drops, because the ground may shove a pebble up just as a back wants comfort. A broad leaf becomes a small roof for the brow. Breath lengthens in 4 beats in and 6 beats out. The heart unthreads, calves loosen. Endurance seeps back like water into roots. Sleep for a thin minute. No dreams needed, only lids pressing the light down for a little while. On the edge 2 stand and listen. They do not stare. Eyes sit at knee height and ears open like wings. Grass tilts the way the forecast promised. Leaves fall without a sound. Nothing calls for stopping the thin sleep. When those inside roll a shoulder, the watchers tap the staff twice on the soil, a low even metronome that invites the road again. With legs warm, the line flows on. The ground shows shallow claw marks running in pairs, perhaps sliding stones, perhaps a small hoof. No wet first smell rides with them. No trouble. The band glides by and leaves no sound. Human scent stays small by not talking, not laughing, not panting. By nightfall, the forest remembers only a light strand of smell that passes and is gone. Toward sunset, tree shadows stretch like long cloths. Water returns as a faint high hint, likely a shallow runnel. Do not angle toward it. Fire is not yet yours. So night does not need extra water song to call other shadows. The shelter site is chosen on a dry slope out of the wind with no knotted roots under the bed. 3 dropped trunks stand into a frame. Leaves overlap against the wind. Hide hoods the back. The doorway turns its back on damp scent. A narrow vent remains so air can pass. Survival always leaves one open channel to breathe. Outside, the small signs go down simple. 2 stones cross at a slick edge to warn the later heel. A dry twig braces on a springing root to mark a safe detour. Nothing hangs high where it casts a silhouette. Raw food is tied tight, kept high, and set away from camp. The staff lies across within a hand's reach. Elders sleep in the centre. Children tuck against adult shoulders. Watches spread evenly. All of it as quiet as an unspoken prayer. The body asks its share. After a long day, the stomach is hollow and the gut warm. You think of roots with nutty flesh. You think of insects with a thin, crisp shell. You think of a scrap of soft marrow still clinging in bone if luck holds. Hunger does not shout. It hums in the belly. Night is not the time to hunt more. Morning will open the food story on another edge of the forest, where soft earth yields tubers and tender leaves hint at tiny eggs. Before sleep, a small bite is enough to rock the stomach into rest. Wash hands once with the little water left. Fingers touch and feel cool and dry. The face does not need a splash. A palm laid to the cheek is enough to remind the skin of the body's quiet rhythm. Lie on your side, back to the warm ground. Lids grow heavy, breath evens. The ears still stand the watch, but the mind steps back. Outside, the forest breathes against the leaf roof, gentle as a stream crossing a dream. If fear slips over the threshold, draw in through the nose, count 4, breathe out to 6. Tell yourself the day's choices were sound. You reached water at the right time. You left by the right line. You traded roles at the right hour. You set the shelter in the right wind. Those right threads weave a blanket. The blanket wraps the dark until the dark feels like a friend. A first star clings to the small sky between 2 crowns. No one names it. Its light is enough to keep the head from feeling lost. Inside, many breaths braid into one warm ribbon. Sleep's thirst closes each pair of eyes. Waking will come by gentle turns, light as insect wings. Let the shoulders fall again. Let the jaw loosen. Let the knees go. Let breath enter like a cool run and leave like wind. A day that walked beside water is complete. Tomorrow tells another story, one about roots and shoots and soft meat and strange scents. When the sun returns, chewing will be quiet and enough to set legs moving again. Before sleep covers everything, thank the forest in your heart. Thank the water. Thank the dry ridge. Thank the fine signs that led the band through the day. Sleep now. The forest mystery keeps watch outside. In warm leaf and hide, the belly settles, the heart slows, memory curls in on itself. Night slides past like a gentle dark river, carrying people through the ravine of fatigue to the pale bank of morning. The chill of early morning retreats from your skin. Hunger lifts like a small wave in the belly, not urgent but persistent. The forest opens its eyes slowly. Dew clings to leaves, earth is soft under the heel. Light filters through the canopy and settles on thin leaf veins. Water smells far off, sap smells close. This is the quiet hour to find food for mouth and gut. Without fire, everything must enter the body by the slow, careful path. A fresh broken branch lies near the foot of the slope. Exposed roots show a stripe of dark, wet soil. Inside that soil, small round tubers the size of a fingertip sit tight like soft stones. Fingers go first. Skin meets earth. You draw a deep breath to read the young starch. No bitter sting on the air, no strange acrid note. Pry out a tiny piece. Lay it on the tip of the tongue. Touch only. Do not swallow. The tongue reads taste. The gums read feel. If there is no prickle and no oily foulness, chew a little more. Each test no bigger than a grain. The body teaches this way so you never step into an invisible pool of poison. At the base of a rotting tree, the bark crushes under a thumb. Beneath it, a nest of small creatures. Some are soft with thin skins, milk white, full of moisture. On a fireless day, they are the easiest protein you will find. A stone flake as thin as a leaf edge lifts the bark like a lid. Take only what the meal needs. Do not turn the whole trunk. Set one on your palm, blow off the dust, let the tongue touch for taste. If it is not bitter and not harsh, chew slowly. The rich flavour rises, passes through the nose, and settles in the belly. Keep the chewing quiet, the breath smooth. Let the scent fade in the mouth before moving on. At the lawn's edge a wild bush hangs with bright little berries. Colour that shouts often warns. Instead of snatching, step back half a pace and read the leaves, the stem, the way the stalk holds the fruit. Edibles you have known live somewhere in the body's memory like a warmth at the tongue's tip. When unsure, do not test the fruit. Test a young axil leaf the size of a grain of rice. The tongue reads first. The throat reads after. The belly reads only when the first two are calm. Eating raw is a long conversation with tiny things around you. From the left comes the steady tap of a narrow stream. Water helps wash hands, clear the nose, wet the mouth before more chewing. Take a small sip, touch the cold with the tongue, lift your head to listen to the forest, then let the throat accept a little more. Do not drink to fullness. An empty stomach flooded with water makes the head spin and the legs go soft. Everything follows a slow rhythm, like falling leaves that never drop all at once, but one by one, each with a faint sound. On a patch of overturned ground lie traces of another creature's meal. A little fur mixed with fine bone splinters, scent still warm. Not far away, a forearm-thick bone remains, cracked at one end. If the day is cold and wind rides scent away, if the pack has left, if flies have not gathered like cloud, you can ask for the soft part deep inside. Let the sharp flake find the fracture. Work light and patient. When the gap widens to a fingertip, slide the stone in and lever up. No smashing, no tearing. The marrow within is smooth like set fat. Take a kernel the size of a corn grain. Taste it. If it is not sour and not rank, let it melt in your mouth. Protein and fat go into blood like a cold flame. Do not be greedy. Wrap the rest in leaves and tie it high on a branch so wind washes the smell. Do not set it on the ground where many noses will arrive at once. Between bites, keep the mouth quiet and listen with the belly. With raw food, the stomach is a silent teacher. It speaks at once if something is wrong, a strip of heat or a sudden chill. Then stop, sip a little water, wait. The belly will say whether you go on with that food. Do not argue with the belly. It has lived longer than ideas. It knows the language of leaf and root better than any tale. The jaw works hard. Chewing muscles run along the cheekbone like tough cords. Roots, seeds, stringy meat, crisp insects each demand a different tempo. There is no hurry. Chewing is the stand-in for fire. The longer food meets the teeth, the kinder the task for the gut. When the jaw grows hot, rest the tongue on the palate, drop the jaw a notch and let the fibres soften, then resume. A little extra saliva turns hard into tender. Over a long day, saving jaw work is saving leg work. At the foot of the slope where damp earth darkens in patches, small digging signs show someone has taken roots here. Do not ignore it, but do not reopen the same hole. Slide a hand's width sideways, sink your fingers into new ground, rub lightly to feel slickness and young starch scent. When you touch the right spot, soil around the root loosens like wet flour. Lift the root and scrape the skin with a flake. A pale white strand appears. Nip a fragment. Lay it on the tongue. Wait. A nutty comfort blooms after a few beats. Chew and let the cool sweetness spread slowly. Another stump shows lines of ants. At a swelling on the trunk, a cluster of eggs the size of sand grains gathers. Catch them on the knife's tip into your palm and cover with a small leaf. They melt easily, faintly sweet, without odd smell. Share with 2 or 3 mouths. Tiny things like these line the stomach better than you would think. They do not fog the head or slow the legs. Nibble often, a little at a time, and the body keeps its rhythm. A twig snaps very softly on the right. Eyes drop. Hands still. The grass leans and rises again. No new scent. Likely a small animal crossing. When the forest restores its silence, the forage continues. New morsels live everywhere underside of a damp stone crusted with young moss. Small earthen pockets that sometimes hold hidden eggs. The body of a fallen tree that is a storeroom of soft creatures. Each taking is slow and small, so the storeroom is not emptied too fast and remains tomorrow if needed. By late morning the stomach wears a few gentle layers. Nutty root with rich insect. A thin ribbon of marrow resting in the blood. Small sips keep the throat from drying. The heart does not pound against the temples. The eyes are no longer dazzled by hunger. This is the right state to go farther. Before you step, wash once more in moving water and wipe your hands on grass so scent fades. Do not carry food smell on the skin. That smell invites noses you do not wish to meet. Along the way, the body remembers its age. Big, sturdy jaws take hard chewing without complaint. Molars bite a root like biting young wood. The gut grinds what the teeth leave. Sometimes it hums a long note. Not hunger, just the shop at work. Pause a beat. Lay a hand on your belly. Breathe out slow to reassure it. When the body's heard, everything goes smooth. A thin rock ledge roofs a dry patch of ground. This is a good place to sit a moment and sort what you have gathered. Tender leaves to one side, scraped roots to another. Small protein wrapped in leaves set apart and tied high in the rough cloth bag. Each part is small, and together they are enough for a long stretch. Before leaving, scan the ground to be sure nothing is left behind. Forgotten scraps call flies, call smell, call feet you do not want. The canopy's shadow shifts. Light pours into the patch before you like water. Draw one deep breath to fill the lungs with forest scent. Breathe out very slowly so the fever of early hunger drains from the chest. When you stand, the head is light, eyes clear, legs warm, ears open. Those are good signs for the half day ahead. On the left slope, young leaf thickets mark a new root zone. Farther still, a long fallen tree may keep many soft things under its skin. You move on, not fast, not heavy, holding a cadence like the small tapping of water on stone at dawn. Eating raw is an art of patience. It teaches you to respect every smell, every colour, every fine sound. It teaches you to hear the belly as you hear an elder telling stories. It teaches the mouth to be fire by chewing long. It teaches you to leave few signs, so the forest can keep its secrets. Each meal is only small pieces, and the smallness is what carries the body far. When sun slants and wind changes scent, the belly speaks again with a gentle reminder. Time to find a little more. At the hill's edge, a rotten log has powdered to the core. Beneath the wood dust, soft white bodies lie curled like beads. This time, beg feed the smallest mouths first, then the tired bodies. Tongue touches, chew slow, swallow in crumbs. Through the length of the afternoon, these small drips of energy soak into muscle the way water soaks roots, without noise and without haste. As light withdraws from the leaves, supper closes with a bit of water in the mouth and a few root slices saved for night. The body will lie down with a belly not full but calm. In the dark, the gut will finish the work. Keep what it needs, send away what it does not. Morning will start again with wet earth smell and insect song, with one more root tested, one more bark opened, one more question asked of the belly. That's how people lived before fire. Slow, small, steady, and always letting the forest speak first. The forest teaches small lessons by smell and taste and faint bands of light on leaves. Today's lesson is how to see the soft within a hard world. How to choose what can be eaten among countless things meant only for looking. How to let the stomach be the quiet teacher every muscle obeys. At the foot of a fallen trunk, the outer skin is fibrous but the core still moist. The stone edge draws a line and a sweet scent rises, like sunlight on straw. Milk-white creatures curl in the wood dust. Do not grab a handful. Pinch a few, set them on your palm, blow the powder away, touch them to the tongue before chewing. The fat spreads, with no bitterness and no prickle at the gums. Chew slowly, stop, listen with the belly, then take more. That rhythm keeps the gut from surprise and keeps the head from swimming on a sudden flood of fat. A low shrub in the grass bears fingertip-sized fruit, shiny as raindrops. Bright colour is an invitation or a warning. Instead of plucking a berry, use a nail to nip a young leaf at the axil. The leaf smells cool and green. The sap does not bleed milky white. Touch it to the wrist skin and wait a beat. No sting. Touch to the lip and wait another beat. No burn. If the belly remains calm, set a tiny piece on the tongue. The taste is lightly sour and fades quickly. Swallow, then count to 30 before thinking of another test. The forest does not want to be challenged. It wants to converse in short sentences and quiets between them. On a low bank where water slides over rock, foam gathers around a trapped twig. In the tangle lie thin shells of small water life pushed by the current. If fresh, some may hold a little soft roe. Use a leafy stem as a spoon, lift them, rinse in the flow to clear the silt, then taste. If a strange fishy stink rises, let the water keep them. If almost no scent at all, keep a little. Keep only a little. Everything on the margin of water carries the trace of many mouths. Eating there should be like touching the surface and pulling back, not staying. A predator's old feast stains the slope-scattered hair, gnawed bone. Warmth faded thin. Nearby a long bone is split lengthwise. Do not smash it. Blow spray scent and summon noses. Slide the stone into the seam and pry slowly. When the marrow shows, do not bring it to the mouth at once. Touch a millet-sized dot to the tongue. If the taste is odd, sour or biting, set it down, wrap it in leaves, hang it high for the wind to carry the smell, and leave it to the forest. If the taste is mild, let a little melt in your mouth. Keep the rest well low. Fat's cold fire. It goes into blood like a smokeless lamp, helping eyes see in dimness and legs steady on slopes, but only when taken sparingly and at the right time. Places of easy mistake are often beautiful. A cluster of bead-red fruit gleams in shade, leaves smooth as skin. Small birds arrive and leave without pecking. That is the first sign. Another sign, when you pluck the stem, the sap runs milky, sticky, with a harsh hidden heat smell. Put it down. Walk on. Survival is often the ability to leave beauty at the right moment. The opposite also holds. Something ugly can be kinda misshapen root, dirty, rough-skinned, that, once scraped, releases a cool, nutty scent. The body remembers that smell from older meals and nods without words. Another way to read the forest is to watch who is eating what. Where ants make a road, places they linger often hold fat or sugar or starch. Where bees hover at noon, there is pollen and nectar, but that also means do not push your face too deep. Where birds perch without pecking fruit, the fruit has its reasons to stay whole. These small observations help you avoid the mistakes of those who chose by colour, tasted by shape, and ignored the nose. Jaw and tongue are the oldest tools that stand in for fire. They tenderize with time. They separate smell from taste and hand the belly the least stringy parts. When the chewing muscles tire, set the tongue to the palate. Let the jaw drop a notch. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out long. A short rest like this keeps the day from turning into a race between teeth and roots. Raw eating does not hurry. It is a chain of sips and bites parted by breaths. By midday, a darker patch at the slope's foot marks deep tubers. Do not dig straight down. Tight soil will clutch and tear. Use a dry stick as a wedge along the root side, lever gently. Let the earth loosen itself. When the tuber shows, scrape the skin and test the tip of your tongue. If the taste lengthens into bitterness, bury it again. If it is nutty, shave slices thin as fingernails. Give them to small mouths first, then the elders, then the lead. The band's miles live in that tiny piece on the tongue. Sometimes luck comes as a little nest in the grass. Do not take the whole clutch. Lift a few scattered at the rim, cover carefully with grass and blur your hand's mark. Soft eggs sink into the belly like comfort. In wind and warm leaf, fullness is rare. The right feeling is a warm belly, steady eyes, steps without sharpness. That is enough. Other groups' errors are written on the ground, like stories cut short. Someone snapped whole shrubs in haste, leaving a fresh green smell that called insects and eyes. Someone stored fat in a leaf bundle beside sleep, their scent laying a road on every wind. Someone tried a pretty fruit at first sight and never let the tongue speak, and their evening became a series of quiet cramps. No need to retell these aloud. The forest wrote them into the wind. The band reads them with their eyes and keeps a silent vow to not repeat. Bodies change on raw days. The jaw works long, cheekbones grow sturdy, chewing muscles run smooth as strong cords. Teeth learn where to break a root along its softer line and how to divide tough fibres fine. The gut learns patience, grinding longer, taking what it needs from very little. The brain wakes on a trace of fat. Eyes lose some darkness. Legs shake less after climbs. But fat, kind as it seems, should arrive like a small lamp, not a bonfire. On such days you notice a quiet growth muscles last longer, breath goes deeper, attention stretches farther. There is no cheering, only steady rhythm. By day's end, when leaf shadows lengthen, it is time to gather the rest. Tender leaves fold into rough cloth. Root slices stack like thin coins. A bit of fat is wrapped tight and tied high where wind passes through. Everything must leave night's noseline. In a temporary shelter, food does not sleep in arms. It sleeps outside, hung between two trunks, where wind rinses scent and ground keeps no print. Before sleep, wash hands in moving water, dry them on grass, press a palm to your cheek. The skin is cool, breath is even, belly is calm. That calm is not from fullness. It comes from knowing enough which smells to follow, which colours to leave, which sound is water and which is steps. You have passed a day on small bites and small sips and small decisions. Their smallness keeps sleep safe. If the stomach whispers in the night, do not fear. Inhale through the nose for 4, exhale to 6. Recite quietly the day's list: nutty roots, tender leaves, white grubs, tiny eggs, a thin thread of marrow. Morning will bring them again. The forest is not stingy with those who ask with nose and ear. Go at the right hour. Use the right line. Leave the right little. Wind slips through the leaf roof carrying soft earth scent. In the sleeping ring, breath sprayed into a warm band. Everything moves far away until only the heartbeat and the water somewhere downhill remain. Mystery stands watch outside, not fierce, only reminding you that you lie inside a world larger than you. The gut continues its quiet craft, drawing what the day invited in. Muscle pours strength back into bone, jaw rests, tongue rests, eyes rest. Night ferries the body across the thin bridge of fatigue. Tomorrow the lesson turns a page reading the sky without fire, sharing strength over long distance, keeping human scent from pooling in one place. For now, let thoughts of food withdraw from your chest like mist withdrawing from grass. Every small packet is in its place, both in the cloth bag outside and in the belly. Nothing else to seek. Sleep arrives, light as a falling leaf. Evening drains from the canopy like water from stone seams. Air cools 1 degree. Earth's smell softens. The insect choir changes time. At this hour the belly does not shout. It reminds you with a thin warmth. What night needs is ready root slices. A few milk-white grubs wrapped in leaf. A smidge of marrow hidden high for winter wash. What remains is to pass the dark without letting hunger become a call. Check each item with your eyes. Leaf bundles should be dry, tied not too tight so they do not stew scent, hung where wind can hook and go. The cloth bag is tied high and does not brush the trunk again and again. Footprints around the shelter are blurred by dragging a tuft of dry grass over them. Small work. Large effect. Night remembers scent more than shape. Do not give it a bold road. When darkness settles, the jaw rests more. The last soft chewing is light as a whisper. Root with water becomes the stomach's sigh. Soft insects with leaf padding become a gentle pulse. The fat scrap is kept for dawn when legs ask for going power. Do not eat to be full, eat to be calm. Bodies live by calm more than fullness. The day's rules for raw food close themselves, clear as grain in stone. First, test with nose and tongue before asking the belly to decide. On the tongue, a grain-sized piece speaks more than a guess. The belly is the teacher. Do not argue with the teacher. Second, keep it small and slow, 1 bite at a time, and between them a long breath. The gut loves steady rhythm and hates floods. Third, keep it clean and away. Wash in running water, dry on grass. Let food sleep outside, hung high and in open air. Fourth, leave beauty in time. Gaudy fruit, milky sap, harsh strange scent are 3 marks to walk past. Fifth, watch who ate first, ant trail, bee habits. Birds' choices are maps without letters. Those who read them are less. Deadly mistakes often begin with one rushed move. Someone exhausted, drank to fullness beside a still pool. The world went dark. Legs buckled, and the whole band stalled where the forest collects signs. Someone ripped out a whole root patch. The fresh green scent flared like a torch for night noses. Someone stored fat too close to sleep, each breeze a summons. Someone tasted a pretty fruit on sight and never gave the tongue time to speak. And their evening became a chain of tight, quiet pain. Do not let one move right a long night. The body shifts across raw days. The jaw works long, cheekbone thickens, chewing cords run smooth. Teeth learn to snap roots at the tender point and to split fibres fine. The gut learns patience, grinding longer, taking what it needs from little. The brain clears on a trace of fat, eyes dim less. Legs quiver less after a climb. Even so, fat, though gentle, must arrive like a small lamp, not a heap of fire. On days like this you feel a secret growth, stronger muscle, deeper breath, longer attention. No shout, just cadence. Another change, quieter still, grows alongside the memory of scent. Morning's nutty roots at the slope foot. Noon's water-tapping stone. Afternoon's sweet wood dust. Night's warm hide. Each scent is a marker. Together they make a dim map around the shelter. When wind shifts, the map turns, but the markers remain. You learn to turn with it, not against. Survival is a very slow dance with wind and smell. Before sleep proper, check the body once more. Clean hands, lips without fresh scent, even breath, warm belly. The night staff rests crosswise within reach. The first watcher taps an ankle to take the turn. No one speaks. The right things are done. The rest belong to morning. Night dislikes long plans. Night loves the sound of breathing. If fear threads a crack in the mind, spread a palm over your belly, breathe in through the nose for 4, out to 6. Remember the times the tongue saved you from a bitterness that clings, the times the nose carried you past a milky harshness, the times the belly said no and you listened. These memories are stones under the tent poles that keep everything standing when wind slides through. There are also days when the forest gives little. Each place offers only a pinch. Each stump holds just a few. The lesson does not change: eat small, drink small, move small, hope small. Spare a portion so tomorrow has a portion. A band's good sense is not a single full belly in one afternoon, but many calm bellies across many days. Deep in night, the gut keeps working. It draws tender starch from roots, sweet protein from insects, thin fat from marrow into blood. Muscle soaks in strength. The inner light dims like a lamp that has warmed enough. Outside, the forest shifts slowly, as if unrolling a black cloth and smoothing it again. Everything is at ease. The water-down slope fades like a dream. At first grey, when morning climbs the leaf wall, the tongue will read taste again, the nose will read scent again, the belly will answer with a quiet nod. A new raw day opens with old motions that never run out of lessons. In this way, the body learns the forest's language, and the forest, without anger, gives back enough small pieces for people to go on. You sit when the watch shifts, draw a long breath to find the wind set, touch the cloth bag hung high, feel the leaf bundles dry and cool. Today the path will cross new ground, perhaps an ancient fall, a deep-root seam, a bare stone lip. New smells will wait. The old cadence holds test with tongue, ask with belly, trust the nose, eat small, drink small, leave little. These short lines are a silent compass. The end of a tale about raw food is not a feast. It is the settling of the belly, the feel of clean palms, the breath round and smooth as a cool pebble. As your lids lower, a few soft images remain: root slices aired on leaves, milk-white insects resting in your palm, a thread of marrow melting like a wick's tiny flame. They are enough for a lullaby. Sleep. Morning will call with the nutty smell of wet earth. A dry click of stone against stone. A bright shard leaps free, and a pale line of cut skims the hide. Morning is still grey. Light cannot yet sort every colour. Yet it lets your hands find the cold shape waiting in the grass. A core the size of a heart rests quiet. Your other hand chooses a harder stone for a hammer. Two nameless things talk in crisp knocks until a thin edge wakes along the rim, keen enough that even the air shivers as it passes. The dawn whispers slowly turn hard into sharp. Turn sharp into path. Keep that path from turning back on you. You set the core on your thigh, tilt the angle, touch the hammerstone askew rather than straight. The touch is not strong, only true. A fracture runs under the skin of rock like a hidden stream, and leaves a bright flake in your palm. After a handful of strokes, a rough chopper appears, the lip slightly rounded like a spoon, ready to chop, pry, split. The lighter plates make flakes, small and razor-fine for slicing hide, parting meat, scraping root. Beside you a straight shaft turns under stone, bark peels in ribbon curls, the tip narrows. There is no fire to temper it, so the wooden spear learns patience instead of hardness. Slimmer and truer with each pass, it will not drive deep, yet with many feet and quiet timing it can still herd small quarry toward a tight mouth of earth. Light lifts a notch. Work that needs eyes belongs to now, while sight is cool and shadows thin. A flake tests on dry sinew and answers with a moth-soft rustle. The chopper tastes a green branch and sends its rebound up your wrist. Cuts must be thin, not greedy. Your grip changes, your pace shifts, so one spot does not wear to dullness. In this short clear window, the eye work must finish twist cord, point tips, lift bark, shave hide. Night will shut the lids, day is when edges grow. No fire means no bright centre to gather around. The circle's rhythm must be spun by bodies. You call the one beside you with a set of shoulders, with an open palm or a cupped one, with 3 even taps of stone on stone. An arm chopping straight down says stay. A flat sweep of the hand says turn. 2 fingers pinched and offered forward say come close. Sounders spare a quick click for warning, a thin hiss for halt. Each cue must carry 10 paces, never leap above the grass. The hunting line opens like a dark ribbon pricked by small holes that are tracks. Crude tools demand right distance. A thrown stone is lighter than wood and has no iron nose to steer it. It lives by a clean arc and a calm arm. Wind is your first opponent, not the animal. You lower your shoulder, lean the body, keep the arc low to the ground so a gust cannot shove it aside. Stones do not strike to kill. They turn paths, guiding a body toward a waiting lane of wood. If the stone must strike earth, let it hit where the animal means to run. so dust lifts like a thin wall. The pointed spear reminds you counters are near. Each practice thrust into a rotten trunk teaches the hand the feel of spring. The tip does not push straight. It brushes along a flat, like sweeping through a narrow door. Small bodies turn fast. One twitch sends the tip skidding, and the rebound climbs your forearm and can strip the shaft from your hand. So every thrust carries its retreat folded inside it, like a step that dips into water and pulls back before the current clamps. For a spear to live, the draw must be as quick as the strike. Distance measures safety, with stones. Past 10 paces waste strength, inside 5 quarts risk. With wood, under 3 is a red ring where a kick can numb the wrist and buckle a knee. You learn to borrow the land as quiet armour a fallen trunk to have your shape when you close, a pocket of slick mud to steal ground from a leaping foot, a low bush as a curtain for trading places. The weakness of simple tools is paid back by the wit of where you stand. In these moments, bodies are the only rope that keeps the ring from falling apart. A hand opened high is the order to block. Both arms lowered means sink your weight. An elbow canted back means peel away. No voices, no echoes. The forest hears too well, and the wind ferries every secret far. You try a throw. The stone leaves your hand like a small dark bird. It skims the grass, kisses the ground at the edge, dust lifting in a thin veil. The animal jerks and hooks its path. The spear lip flashes out and back inside one breath. There is no loud triumph, only a right motion, a chance that is exactly enough, and a clear lane to step away. Harsh tools school humility. You do not conquer the forest, you converse with it and ask for a small share. By mid-morning the sun squeezes the eyes. This is not the hour for invention. This is the hour of reminding the hand sharpen a little, trim a little, test a little, never pass the line. Keep edges keen, not brittle. Keep tips sharp, not chip thin. These companions must travel the length of day over many slopes and thickets and many retreats. Endurance outvalues a brief blaze. As the insect song changes colour, the band takes shade and checks everything. The chopper is dry and clean, no warm scent clinging. Flakes nest in cloth, edges turned inward so they do not grind. Spears stand in dry soil, tips aimed into the wind. The throwing stone rests in your palm, heavy by feel, cool from the morning rinse. There is no hearth to dry anything, so shade and wind become your forge. Bare sun shrinks wood, heats stone, burns skin. Soft shadow is the fireless kiln. A small note lifts from your belly. The next stretch will need strength. When you rise, the spear shaft feels quiet under the palm, the wood dry and steady. The stone rolls once and finds the hollow in your hand again. Your wrist turns, positions change. The real hunt begins only when place is right and wind is right and distance is right. With simple tools, rightness is the only thing that stands in for steel. Your pace settles. Warm leaf scent blends with the faint musk of dried hide. Above, the sky brightens once more and holds. This is where part 1 closes the dawn whisper of hand and stone. The brief forge of light, the hazards of hunting with rough gear. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out slow, carry the dry of stone, the warm of wood, and that safe length of space like a thread looped round your wrist. The next stretch will be about braidwork, where to stand, when to release, how to strike and slip away, the mistakes that cut other bands. The evening finish when a few small portions hang in shade and the tools still sleep. Keen. The first signal does not travel by voice. It turns at the wrist to the right. The head blocker folds a knee and sinks into grass shadow. The flanker cups a hand like a leaf and points at a low slit between 2 shrubs where the ground hollows and the prints press deeper than their neighbours. A mouth opens in the body of the forest. Bodies slot into that line as neatly as matched saw teeth. When the wind eddies, the stone must not leave your hand high. The arm reaches, the shoulder sinks. Power rolls from hips rather than elbow. The arc rides close to the grass like a little fish sliding through green water, touching earth where the animal means to pass. Dust does not explode. It swells, soft and thin. In that breath, the spear from the far side already holds its mark, not piercing the chest but brushing the ribs and forcing one more turn. When wood meets soft, the arm withdraws at once. Your foot shifts. Your hips turn. Your lane stays clear like a habit you were born with. The land becomes an unseen ally. Root ridges are steps for changing tier. A ribbon of mud on the lower slope steals half a beat from small legs. Low brush hangs like a blind, letting one body slip out while another arrives without a watcher fixing either. Shade is a cloak. Sun is a mirror. Each step needs the right place at the right time, so you do not spill either outline or scent. You read, not admire. A blade pressed by wind. A chip of earth cracked fresh. A faint warmth hung in still air. The pieces lace into a map with no letters. Place decides everything. The eye that has learned to look into glare takes the left where light glances off ground, and the grass lies like knives. The heavy step keeps the right where rot may swallow a heel. The quick small frame waits at the bent lip of the hollow to close the gate. The lookout stands one rise higher, enough to see the whole ring. If the animal burst past the old door, they cut a fresh diagonal in one breath and a new door exists. How to throw without the throw turning on you. The answer lives in bone and skin. The eye gives wind and grass height. The hand judges the road. Stones that look like twins weigh differently. The right one settles as if it has always lived in your palm. When it leaves, it does not drag the skin or wrench the wrist or tighten the shoulder. It goes light on the low road and taps earth like a dragonfly on a pond. If dust jumps high, the hand was greedy. If dust slants, the wrist was not round. When dust only breathes, it is right. How to strike and leave like mist. Wood is not iron. It claims space, it does not burrow. The proper sweep is short and level, enough to turn a spine. The retreat is packed and ready before the sweep. Knees drop, hips roll. Half a step slides while feet cling to dry earth and avoid slick root. The grip is firm, not clenched, so the shaft can spring back instead of punching your joints. What the sweep gains is rhythm. What a greedy lunge loses is safety. Inside the moving ring there is a gap you must protect. Lunges do not mend it. Smooth trades do. A tired body eases half a foot back. Another glides in as quietly as water-changing banks. No one swells past their share. No one shrinks below need. A right formation moves like a long creature with one heartbeat. Break the beat and limbs thrash. Keep the beat, and all limbs go soft. Mistakes come not from weak bone, but from hurried mind. A mouth leaks a tiny sound and wind carries it far. The animal hooks away before the stone lands. A throw leaps into the wind. The arc opens wide like a crow's wing and drops into a friend's lane. A sweep starts while a partner is still within reach and the tip skates a shin, leaving a hot welt that keeps its smell until night comes to ask. A knee finds a wet root and the base is gone. The body spills into brush with no path to leave. A tracker falls in love with fresh marks and runs into a narrow cleft. Back to cold rock, eyes to eyes, all exits swallowed. A cut goes from outside to in, and the edge slides toward the palm. Warm scent popping like a lamp. Each wrong has a small repair. Do not call out. Do not throw against wind. Do not sweep without a road to withdraw. Do not kneel on slick root. Do not press into stone throats. Do not cut toward your hand. When impatience burns behind the ribs, call the body back to its old music. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out long, count 3 before you throw or sweep. In those beats the eye checks wind again. The hand remembers the low road. The feet feel for dry ground. Any move that steals those 3 counts is a dangerous move. The first hunt on high grass ends like a whispering slide. The portion is wrapped in leaves and hung in shade to let wind wash the smell. No one lifts the lid, no one lingers. The path goes on. Down the slope the earth turns to plates of stone. Light glances off and drives into the eyes, knees lower. Those go lower still because wind shears along rock and punishes anything high. On slick stone a spear is not a scythe. It is a bar. It cuts half a circle, then comes home. At the stream the world grows loud and hides the difference between step and water. Before acting, hands are scrubbed in dry grass. Wet rock is treachery. Stones are wiped on the hem of hide. The lookout does not stand on white mossed rounds that are smooth as wet skin. They choose the root-snagged shallows where pebbles roll rather than slide. Pebbles that roll mean a foot has passed. Pebbles that slide are only the slap of water. Know the difference and you read the stream's clock. Here signals travel by counted breath. 3 short. 1 long pulls the ring tight to the bank, 2 long, then still means close the door. A single tongue click like a falling drop warns of slick rock. A small hiss is half a step back. The tiniest sounds carry 10 paces yet never climb above the water's voice. If one lifts by mistake, The stream peels it up, the wind hoists it, and everything on the bank hears. A small body shoots through a stone notch. The stone leaves on the low road, a dark streak, and lands on the water's edge where thick grass opens into a black mouth. Spray jumps like a white line and slices sight. At half beat is the gap. The spear does not stab. It brushes the flank and herds the body into the muddy shelf. Mud holds a foot and steals another beat. The wind belongs to calm, touch, draw, step, turn, silence. A warm leaf packet rests in your hand. 2 terrains later, the body is warm the durable way. Forearms feel hollowed and heavy. Calves hum with a soft ache. Shoulders hold. The heart does not drum at the temples. These are good signs. Right. Fatigue dissolves with a small sip. Wrong fatigue drags into night and jerks the limb. The band sits in shade, backs against a cool trunk, shoulders loose, slow nose breath, bit of nutty root. The stomach remembers its steady song. Back on the path the wind turns. The scent that hangs at camp will be rinsed clean by evening. The keenest watcher walks ahead, dragging a tuft of friendly dry grass to blur prints. Not to vanish. To smudge. The forest does not love human straight lines. It prefers wind's kinks and scent's bends. Children place small feet in dry prints. Learn to stop without sound. Learn to leave a spear leaning without knocking it. Learn to let a throwing stone sleep quiet in a pouch. Home at last. The light turns to honey. The tool ledger opens by hand. The chopper gets a dry wipe and its edge glides across a palm. If the skin feels a burr, the hone visits that speck, circles, stops, and the sinew test whispers right again. Flakes are counted by touch inside the bag. Empty places are known without spilling grit into the nest. Spears stand in a dry corner, tips turned upwind. Neck lashings checked by finger. If they prickle like mouse fur, add a rap. Set the point to dead wood. Listen for a soft firm rebound. The throwing stone shifts where it rests in the palm so the wrist will not grind a single groove tomorrow. These small audits are the day's last song, a ring of safety woven from repeating what is right. Food is handled in shade. Shallow cuts, clean faces, no sprayed scent. Soft pieces are wrapped for tired bodies and small mouths. No one eats to fullness. Everyone eats to calm. Fullness blares. Calm sleeps deep. Leaf bundles are hung between trunks, higher than a head yet not high enough to silhouette. Wind flows through them like invisible water and washes a warmth from the smell. In the shelter, a dry corner is where tools sleep. Each leans into its own print in the soil. The hand reaches and finds the right thing without looking. The young kneel longer, learning the wrist turn that lifts thin plates from a core, learning to press wet lashings flat. Elders make a slow circle, listening to chopper on wood, to flake on sinew, to the small thrumming of a spear tip. When light fails, ears finish what eyes began. Old mistakes keep their ghosts. Someone once hung food by the door, warm scent pooled, and at dawn new prints ringed the shelter. Someone once laid tools in harsh sun, wood shrank, stone burned, hands lost feel, and nothing felt true till dark. Someone once stacked everything close for comfort, and that very smell wrote invitations on the wind. These stories are breathed, not preached, like a faint draught, like a tap on an ankle at the changing of the watch. Repair comes by doing the right thing, again and again. Night lays a thin black cloth. The first watcher touches an ankle, and hands trade places the way a pebble moves from one pouch to another. No words. Each breath is an answer. Outside, wind combs the leaf roof like a palm through the forest's hair. Inside, hearts find the insect choir and fall into its even song. You do not need flame to know the circle stands. It is woven from small axe a tool at the true angle, a bundle at the right height. Prints erased the quiet way. Watches turned on time. Before sleep takes you, the mind walks one last loop. Stances that matched like saw teeth. Stones released on low lines. Wooden tips that touched and withdrew clean. Wrong turns you witnessed and the small fixes you tied over them. The shelter breathes softly. The forest does not object. Its silence is consent. You draw the hide to your chest, set a palm to your belly, feel the warmth, breathe in slow, breathe out long. The safety thread once looped round your wrist is looped round your ribs now, deeper. Just before drifting, a thin thought rings like pin on stone. Strength is not in stone or wood. It is in how the band shields itself from wind and noise. Tomorrow asks for more. Children must grow on steady meals and deep sleep. A mother must be safe when cramps come in darkness, without a ring of fire to call everyone close. Today's lessons must soften into different craft watches that spare the ear. Wind broken so night does not cut. Scent hidden so curious noses pass. The bridge is set to the edge of this tale. Half of it stands here in stone and wood. The other reaches toward thin blood and cradle songs. Wind turns. A leaf slides along the roof. The watcher does not start. Their hand rests on the cool stone like a hand on an old answer. In the dark the tools stand in a quiet row, long bones of a gentle beast asleep. They walk the day with you, sanded impatience smooth, kept the heartbeat steady. Tomorrow, grey will climb the leaves, stone will click dry, a bright plate will fall, a clean line will skim a thread of sinew, and the circle will open again. For now, all is still, all breathes, all drifts. You close your eyes. In the shelter's breath you hear water under the slope, a root rubbing earth, grass touching grass. One even song, no peaks, no quarrels. It carries you over a soft bridge to the far bank of the day. Sleep smells of dry wood and tastes of cold water. Safety feels like an invisible thread around your wrist. Morning will call and the story will go on, but not in haste. Night is doing its work, slowly and sure, the way you honed a stone until the edge made the right, small sound. Right there, under your lids. Pictures of stone and wood thin into mist and settle over every ache. When you wake, the world holds, and you're ready for the next lesson in staying alive. Ready to step across to a steadier ground, children growing in quiet. A mother safe through pain, a circle unfrayed when the wind finds a new voice. Sleep now. The forest keeps the watch, the child's breath beside you. Outside, dawn mist lies thin over the earth before the cave. You wake to a small snuffle. A warm little body leans into your arm. New skin and dry grass mix their scents. Light has not yet climbed the stone ceiling. Mist hangs at the mouth of the cave like a damp veil laid over the ground. There is no fire to draw everyone into a bright circle. The band still sleeps inside an unseen ring woven from breath. Familiar smells, and closeness that needs no words. Beyond, the world is wide enough to have no edge, does not wait for names. It stands cold and damp and throws down gusts, rain, and strange scents. Against that wideness your people are a seed. The seed lives by clinging. Each breath is a thread that ties one to another. Each hand set in the right place is a knot that keeps the thread from slipping. Without fire, those knots must hold tighter. Nights run longer, cold bites sharper. Any sound can turn into a shadow. Dawn whispers the old lesson. Alone, you're a foreign smell in the wind. Together, you're one more warmth in the shared blanket. Breathe slowly. Listen left, listen right, and let your rhythm find theirs. Remember who lies where, elders in the lee of the wind, the pregnant woman on the flattest ground, children between two bodies like stones warming a stream, the strong along the rim, faces to the entrance. There are no wooden walls, no iron bars. Safety's line is the way bodies arrange so they do not show. You sit up. Dry soil under your palm says no rain came. An elder has slipped to the cave mouth to taste the wind. He calls no one, yet all of you know where he stands by the faint scuff of sand under heel. His head tilts, nose toward the trees, listening through the ground. The breeze brings clean stone. No unfamiliar scent. Good. The old woman near the door lays a wrinkled hand on the pregnant belly. No blessing, only the smallest nod when the beat proves steady. A child snorts and gropes for its mother's arm. That blind hand finds the soft tendon at the wrist. Safety does not need speech. It needs touches that land exactly. As grey light pours in, the band's shape appears. More than 20 bodies. Sometimes near 50 when two groups join as the herds drift. Sometimes fewer when the strong range ahead. No tallies scratched on stone. Faces, breaths, and footfalls are numbers stored behind old eyes. No names are called. The men tend to slip out first, skirting the forest's edge to read the day. They do not march as a lump. They draw into a thread, spaced so a single tongue click will carry. Some carry shaved wooden spears. Some carry palm-heavy throwing stones. One carries a tight sheaf of dry grass to blur prints if needed. They do not hunt every morning. Some days they only read the circle, then return. Hunting at random spends strength. Spent strength invites error. The women leave later with children on backs or hands in theirs. Their eyes know fruiting bushes, root beds as quiet edges that keep eggs. Older ones work close to water, filling small baskets, never far from the slope. Two careful people stay, smoothing bedding, testing hides, picking sharp chips so small feet will not be cut. These quiet tasks hold the rhythm upright. Rhythm is a spine, unseen, bearing all. Morning begins with checking. There is no flame to show an edge. Hands take the place of eyes. The chopper skims your palm. If skin feels a burr, you hone one point, not the whole lip. A flake whispers along a dry sinew. If the whisper runs even, the edges sound. Spears stand against the wall, tips turned against the wind. Lashings feel dry. A throwing stone rolls in your hand, so one hinge of the wrist will not tire. All this must be done before full light. Grey as the hour of sharp eyes and open ears, you step to the mouth. The ground wears a film of mist. Dew beads string each blade into a white thread that runs far. Night prints show because dew settles in their hollows. You crouch and lay a finger joint by a rim. If the lip is crisp, the sign is new. If it slumps, old. The head blocker glances and gives the slightest nod. No one speaks. No one wants to crack the crust of dew. Elders trifle less. They sit at the threshold or on the open ground and look more to sky than soil. They know the small cloud that promises rain, the flattened grass that betrays a strange smell, the sift of dust from a seam that means claw or foot. They are the living archive, whispering that last year the band went north, that beyond the slope a pocket waits where the wind is kind, that a certain path hides a knife of stone eager to trip. Their presence is a wordless map, season laid over season. Without them you would still go, but like newcomers, children are the circle's fresh green. No lectures. They sit by the tool corner and watch plates coaxed from cores. They are led to dry prints and learn to stop without sound. They are shown the difference between grass that stays down and grass that springs up. If a small hand reaches for a flake, a larger palm caps the edge and lifts it beyond reach. No scolding. Discipline here is right motions repeated until the child's body remembers. The bigger ones get small work. Gather grass. Fold hides. Drag the brush to blur prints. When done well, they meet warm eyes. That look is richer than praise. All the while, danger breathes. Sickness slides in like a thin shade. A child's cough drags through 3 nights. Heat pools at the brow. Breath grows heavy. No boiled leaves. No pot. Only what you have. The child is laid at the shelter's heart, bracketed by 2 strong bodies, so sweat will rise and steam into grass rather than soaking the weak. The old woman's palm rests on the chest and counts by her own slow way. If the child reaches 7 days, it stands. If not, the floor will keep a warm ring of memory. No one speaks of it. Everyone lowers their breath when they pass. Hunger comes by another road. Fruit finished, gee insects gone deep. Tracks announce distance, not rest. Hunters return with eyes weighted but calm. Supper thins and splits smaller. The pregnant woman's share is kept warm. Children first. The night watcher's bowl filled so ears do not dim. On such days the journey is recalculated. You must not sit long enough to empty both belly and ground. North edge or south. Has the water turned? Moving is not pastime. It keeps the band from cracking. Predators never sleep. Without fire, night belongs to yellow eyes and wet noses. Sleep comes in pieces. Watchers turn by tapping an ankle. Light is setting a seed. The watcher holds a cool throwing stone. Not to throw, but to weight the hand so the mind does not float. Spears stand at 2 corners, tips turned upwind. At each change, the next watcher checks stands, checks lashings, checks the stone's place, as if writing a new line in the night's invisible ledger. Only when everything rests where it should can the night lie quiet too. You often draw the second watch, hardest of all. To steady yourself, rest the back of your hand on the ground. Cool. Palm on a spear shaft. Dry. Nose to the door. No odd scent. Inhale through the nose. Let the breath go slow. Count 1, 2, 3, and your heart takes its proper pace. The dark offers little to see. You listen instead. Insects change songs. Dew taps earth from a leaf. A thin wind unwinds across the flat, dragging sand in a whisper. This music is yours. Anything foreign will stand against it, and your ear will find the thorn. Some harms grow from within. Fatigue stacks. Someone throws while a partner still stands in the path. A wrist tightens with impatience. A shallow cut washed at the wrong place leaves a taint pooled in the shelter. A band is strong when each fits the right place. It weakens when someone forgets the common beat. So every afternoon the dry drill runs, not to show off, to sow the rhythm, to press down the bubble of haste, to let bodies recall the rightness that once saved every life. No blame. The elder walks and turns a wrist half a degree, sets a foot on the dry root's edge instead of lifting too high. Small edit, strong medicine. Plain days hold no blaze, yet in the quiet the brain grows. Without fire to gather the long hours, thought finds work. Count how many times Seinfeld here this week. Remember which tree fruits first, which bank drains slow, which cleft keeps warmth. Braid a better lashing. Map a way around the great herds next season. No teacher but all teach. A right thought will be rehearsed until it becomes a habit. Habit passes to the small ones by imitation, the shortest road. You stand at the mouth and peer into the dim trees. A young man goes, cupping a hand like a leaf. Low path. You follow a few beats and stop, because today you stay with those who remain. 2 children follow you out. You show them how to place their feet so dew does not burst on the grass. They laugh with breath, not voice. Inside, the pregnant woman rests against stone, palm to belly, breath even. You gather grass and lay a noon place. Each blade set is another thread holding the band's nap in one rhythm. The readers of ground return and drift to the mouth, not for ceremony, but to share what nose and eye have found. New sign to the north, water falling to the west. Wind will shift by evening. Eggs on that branch, edible vine on this root. Pieces click into a day's map. You hand a bark chip to the older child and point the tree that must be remembered. Bright eyes. A nod. Children hold the map in fresh memory. Elders hold it in old memory. Those in the middle hold it in shoulders and calves. The living chart grows clearer than any carved line. You take a small piece from the hanging leaf and swallow slow so your belly finds the old pace. Morning meals are scant and quiet. Only a flake's whisper on sinew, a spear rubbing the wall, steps toward water, as sun climbs. Gold softens the cave. Children must sleep so they have strength for afternoon. A hide is pulled up. You pat the coolest place. They curl. Breath pours into earth. Sweetest sound a land can make. To live together before fire is to make a home from repetition. Each dawn, check tools. Each noon, lay your body where ground is cool. Each dusk, run the dry drill. Each night, trade the watch by touch. Each day, remind hands not to rush. It sounds like little. Within that little stands a bridge across the long day. Children walk it without fear. Elders sit without chill. The pregnant woman breathes without panic. The strong stand at the rim without feeling alone. A faint wind threads the door and carries a scent from the north. Fresh broken earth. It could be a small animal's digging. It could be a broad foot. The lookout lifts his hand and lowers his palm. Bodies settle. Breath compresses. 1 beat. 2. 3. No foreign sound enters the morning music. His palm opens. The pace resumes. One small gesture tightens a loose thread. Such gestures keep the circle from tearing, so the first half of the day rounds off. You've seen the band become a creature with many eyes and ears and hands and only one heartbeat. You have learned the sweetness and difficulty of waking inside a small community of old and young. You have heard sickness pass like a shadow, hunger step in on soft heels. Predators breathe low beyond the rim. You have learned the first ways to take your place in the ring. Breathe slow. Lie by the weak. Test edges by touch. Drill before dusk. Pass the watch by ankle. Keep your voice pocketed when the wind is thin. What comes next sharpens the names of danger and the rules that keep the thread from snapping. How to share so the frail are not left. When to leave so the ground does not hollow. How to ride the seasons so breath does not fray. Where to set the watch and the bed so night does not grow teeth. All told softly, the way the forest tells its stories to the grass. Before fire, nothing saves a band more surely than calm and right habit. You lean back, stone cool through hide. Outside, mist loosens and reveals pressed blades. A small bird slices past. Its shadow prints inside the children's shut eyes. The pregnant woman breathes deep and even. Across the floor, an elder tightens a spear lashing. Everything gathers into a long music with no shatter and no crest. That music is the house. Inside it you ready yourself for the denser half of the day, where risk and rest draw close. where you must learn again how to live together until, far ahead, a first spark sits quietly in a human palm. Midday leans and pours pale gold. Leaf edges dry one by one. The readers return and lay invisible notes inside the ring. No speeches, a fingertip to earth, a point, a small nod. The day's image fits itself together. Warmth gathers around the week. Shadow thickens along root ridges. The common thread pulls taut. Sickness, hunger, and claws move nearer as the sun climbs. A child coughs, small but deep, as if dropped into a well, eyes gummy, brow hot. No warm water, no smoke to breathe. The band works with what hands and minds can reach. The child is set between two strong bodies. Dry palms count the chest's rise. When breath catches, the left draws the hide higher, the right shifts the hand so the chest can lift. You sit by the head and touch a dry leaf to the lips so they do not split. Illness does not leave quickly, yet it understands the language of slowness. The band speaks that language by rhythm and touch. At the rim, a young woman holds her belly and breathes steadily. Her piece is everyone's work. No one feeds her to fullness. Small pieces keep the belly warm. Her bed is the flattest and driest. Stones that could press the spine are lifted away. The hide is set so wind travels through without spiralling. The elder reads the wrist and nods. Each nod is another knot tied into the thread, and shoulders ease across the band. Hunger thins the light, fruit gone, insect songs sparse, tracks announce leaving, suppers shrink, children still first, the pregnant woman still warm, night watchers still topped so their ears do not fall asleep. Others chew long and little, so their bellies learn to endure instead of to fill. You peel a leaf bundle, pass the larger bit to the weaker mouth, then touch a shred to your own tongue. The taste is pale, yet warmth drops into you like a small lamp. Hunger tests the mind. When to move. Stay too long and you empty ground and water, and the herds split around you. Leave too soon, and the weak fold. The elder opens his wordless atlas and points out the small signs. That root ridge hides a pocket out of the wind. Beyond the low meadow lies deeper water. Follow falling water, and you might catch a small herd resting. These are touches, glances, half sentences. When heads nod, the band will go at first light. Night tests scent. Food hangs between trunks, not too high, so its shape does not right itself against the sky. Tools are not washed long in water. Wet smell must not follow home. Heavy prints blur with a slow comb of dry grass. Spear lashings are checked so wood does not fuzz. The new watcher lays the back of a hand to the earth and draws in the night. Far water. Insects. Roots rubbing soil. Regular as a song. You take the middle watch. To hold on, you rest the cool stone in your palm and touch the spear's dry neck. Breathe by the nose and let it go slow. The dark has nothing worth looking at. Only the night's music matters. If any sound stands outside it, your ear will feel the thorn. You do not call. If needed, you touch an ankle. Night's language is touch. These rules live in small acts. Share so the frail are not left. Place elders where wind does not pound. Let the smallest mouth sip first. Move with the season so eyes are not blinded and skin is not torn. No tablets, no chests. Rules live in the hands and feet. You learn by doing right, and you mend wrongs with gentleness. Stories of failure return as a school without letters. One band slept through a windless night. No last eyes held. Soft steps passed near. At dawn, strange prints ringed the door. They fled and left a whole bundle of sinew. Since then, watches turn on time. Another hung food to the roof to keep small hands away. The shadow wrote itself on the sky and wet scent stood. Golden eyes lingered long. They learned to hang lower and deeper in shade and to hide the bundle in a dry leaf. Others loved a kind water edge and stayed. Grass wore down to earth, water retreated, human marks carved dark, great herds curved wide, fresh meat thinned, children tired. The strong came apart. They lifted camp after the right time and the road doubled. Now their elders teach the time to go. Fresh broken earth outweighs grass. Insect sign thins, dry roots rasp. 4 signs mean lift the stakes. Once, meat was cut too near the shelter on a wet day. Raw scent soaked the wet grass. Root shadows fell toward the camp. Yellow eyes came near and stopped. No harm, no sleep. They broke camp in rain and dragged scent behind them. Since then, cut far and let the wind rinse the smell before returning. Another era looked small. Night watchers were fed light, as if ears cost nothing. A watcher dipped into half-sleep. By morning the rule had changed. The watcher's bowl is never thin. Quarrel rose from inside. A toolkeeper thought himself owed more. A tracker thought the same. Two small voices built two banks. The thread frayed. The elder pulled them close. No charges, no blame. The bundles were split into equal shreds and passed by need, not by glory. Anger thinned like cold smoke. Since then, a quiet law holds. Food goes to the weak first. Those with strength will go farther and longer, which returns as breath to the whole ring. Inside these quiet laws you feel a safety that throws no light. It is woven fresh each day. When sharing, look at eyes, not hands. When changing watch, touch an ankle, not a name. When blurring prints, draw the grass slow. When children sleep, lift the pebbles from under spines. No praise follows. Lose one and the circle slips. Afternoon gathers. Birds change their notes. A north breeze drags fresh earth. The band will move at dawn. Tonight is for packing small. Flakes counted by touch. Chopper wiped on dry grass. Spears leaned in the driest corner. Tips turned upwind. Leaf bundles hung in the dim between two trunks. Heavy prints at the door softened. The elder walks one last slow ring. Where ground sinks, he spreads fresh grass until it is level. Everything smooths like an old river. Before dark, the dry drill runs on the flat. No true throws, no true thrusts. Only where to stand and where to slip. The head blocker stands where wind tangles least. The flanker loops the spare path. The lookout climbs half a step to read the shadows. If someone rushes the beat, a hand settles on the shoulder and holds one breath, then lifts away. The practice ends in a shared exhale. The thread pulls snug. You steer two children to the shelter and lay them in the cool. Before they fall, you whisper a thin lesson. Tomorrow the path crosses low grass. Step in dry prints. Hold hands when the wind turns. They nod inside their dreaming. The words will rise at the first root of morning. Night folds the ground. The watch flows. First holds a cool stone. Second lies on a side, face to the door. Third keeps a hand on a spear. Layers of guard stack thin sure. Children sleep bracketed by warm bodies. The pregnant woman breathes even. The elder lies near the door in wind's shadow. The net is not thick in any one place. Together it keeps the dark from touching the heart. At midnight a hair-thin thread writes across the sky and vanishes. No one names it. Eyes follow, then return to the ground. In half-waking chests a feeling stirs. Somewhere above there is a light that is not cold. Far away, a warmth tame enough for a human hand. The feeling does not steal sleep. It lies quiet like a ripened seed. Before the wildcock calls, a thin wind from the north slips across the hide. You press the back of your hand to earth, dry and cool. Your fingers test the spear's neck, strong and dry. You breathe by the nose, exhale slow. Touch the next ankle, and the night's music continues. In that hinge hour, the human mind works like an underground spring. It shelves the day. It flags a place gone thin. It remembers a blade that stayed pressed. It smooths a spear's sweep. It records a sharing that warmed a child's mouth. It writes a new quiet rule. No pen. The lines are laid into the fold of hands, the corners of eyes, the measure of the heart. Morning will not begin with forgetting. Near dawn the shelter breathes out. People rise in quiet. Tools are felt again. Thin food finds the right mouths. Hides roll. The dry grass bundle waits to comb the prints. Children pocket their familiar stones to ease leaving. The pregnant woman is helped up gently. The elder looks up. Last night's streak is gone, yet its echo sits in his eyes. He nods, not to anyone, to the sky. You step out and set your foot in the first dry print of the new day. You read the tree line where grey pours in. You hear the water under the slope. Your skin notes the wind's change. The earth smell stays kind. Your steps keep the old rhythm and your heart holds a new layer. That bright thread feels like a very thin promise. Not safety or wealth. Only that the day's hardness pushes human thought one notch on. Share right. Leave on time. Blur the right print. Lay a steady hand without a word. The brain grows a ring. It is almost ready to hear Stone's speech, to read the wind's mood, to cradle a kept light. You do not need the name for that day. You need no grand word. It is enough to live, to keep the band living, to hear the steady breath of children, to feel the calm beat of the pregnant woman, to see the elder point true. Sometimes another streak will cross the sky. One afternoon, 2 dry sticks will find an ember between them. In some season, lightning will fall into grass. Heat will sit and wait in a hollow. A hand will learn to feed it with dry leaves and gentle air. Until then, you live as today. Gentle discipline, wordless bonds, quiet laws tied round the shelter like soft rope. The road unrolls. No one fears it. There will be weariness, hunger, illness, hunters. Each now has a place in the ring. You watch 2 children set their feet in dry prints. You see an elder lift his chin and taste the wind. Your fingers test the spear lashing and bless its dryness. You pass through thick grass without leaving a sound. In every careful act you carry a small hope under the breastbone, an ember that does not scorch. It only lights the way. The day's tale closes on shared breath. Evening comes. Leaf bundles hang at the right height. Tools lean in the dry corner. The grass before the door is combed to haze. First watch lays the back of a hand to the ground. The smallest child sleeps between 2 warm bodies. A palm strokes the pregnant spine and the rhythm settles. The elder sits and lets the sky rest. Once again the band becomes a home. Sleep before fire, belonging in a world without edges. Night returns. Perhaps a stone will fall at the rim. Perhaps the water will change tempo. Perhaps another sky thread will pass. The common thread is tied. Morning will open the ring again. Add a stretch of path. Add a quiet lesson. Add one more crease of wisdom to the brain. Far off on the rim of every night the dawn of fire swells slowly. There is no hurry. Sleep deep. Breathe even. Hold hands through the dark as if holding a small, nameless warmth. The wind at the cave mouth turns a shade warmer. In the dark, you hear your own heartbeat keeping time. Like a fire that has not yet been named. A long day closes on the smallest things. Stone edges lie smooth as dried fish scales. Wooden shafts stay dry and warm. The earth smells gentle like a thin blanket. Footsteps fall exactly into dry prints. Food hangs still in the dim pocket between 2 trunks. Grass whispers over the doorway and blurs the marks. Without a visible flame, the circle still glows with one another's breath. An elder tilts his head and listens to the wind. Children breathe evenly between 2 bodies. A hand rests on a pregnant wrist until the pulse sinks to calm. You let your shoulders loosen and let sleep find its usual path. Survival today came not from force, but from soft discipline and the patience of many hands. The forest stands still. Water under the slope runs in a thin thread. Stones lean on one another like long bones at rest. Overhead, now and then, a fine streak of light runs and goes out. A warmth lingers under the breastbone without a name, without a hurry. If the wind turns tomorrow, the band will move. If the clouds sit low, you will linger one more beat. Whatever comes, the quiet laws will travel with you. Share with the weak first. Soften heavy tracks with a comb of dry grass. Trade the watch with a touch to the ankle. Set a spear point to the soft place and draw it back clean. These small things hold a house with no walls. Close your eyes now. Let the scent of dry wood, the patter of falling dew, the steady breath beside you settle over your skin. Morning will arrive as a pale grey seam along the leaf's edge. No haste, no waiting for miracles, only sleep deep. When you wake, the world will still be whole, the safety thread still looped around your wrist, and far away the dawn of fire will have grown a little more in silence.